Hi guys, this is Jamie from My Starless Sky, bringing you that Volume 5 of Rwby episode that I promised. So let's just jump right into it. I'm going to do a quick recap and get everybody caught up on Rwby. I know we talked about Volume 4 in the past, but that was before Volume 4 even came out, so we're a little behind, so let's just make sure everybody's, all caught up. Rwby is a show about a team of girls that are fairy tale heroes. They're all based, every character in the show is based on a different fairy tale. So the four main characters are, we've got Little Red Giant Scythe, we've got Snow White Privilege, we've got Social Justice Kitty and the Beast, and then we got Goldie Shots. And the four of them go to Hogwarts and antics ensue. That basically is Volume 1 in a nutshell. Social Justice Kitty and Snow White Privilege like to argue over the White Fang because Social Justice Kitty has gang ties. And that's about it. There's also, aside from the fairy tale team, there's the gender bent heroes team. Jean of the Nice Guys. Then we've got Pyrrha, the best Mistralian. Which anybody who knows this, Achilles was the best Mycenaean, or I think it's the best. Basically, back then they had a saying that was the best Greek, the best of the Greeks. So that's Pyrrha's nickname, the best of the Mistralians. Then we've got Thora, the bubbly street rat, and Lai Mulan Ren. Couldn't think of one for that. So, blah, blah, blah. They all have antics in Volume 1. Volume 2 gets a little better with the gender-bent heroes and Team Fairy Tale. They start interacting more, and the main plot is that Clockwork Torchwick and Ice Cream Mary Poppins doing some more White Fang stuff involving, like, stealing a bunch of dust and, all kinds of stuff that seems important at the time, but in hindsight, not so much. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Volume 6 will come out and a whole bunch of new things will be revealed. At the end of Volume 2, Clockwork Torchwick is captured, and then also the Grimm, attack the city. So, it gives the girls this sense that they helped when really they didn't do nothing. In fact, they might have even caused the problem because they were the one that ran the train into the town with the most eccentric teacher. So I don't know why the teacher's not getting blamed for that. It's kind of weird. But let's look at my notes here. All right, so we're at Volume 3, and that's where the plot really starts, and the beginning of lightheartedness starts to end, and it starts getting serious. So Volume 3 this year is the Tenkaichi Budokai, the World Martial Arts Tournament. So the first half of the arc is pretty cool, but meaningless fights. We get the Team Indigo and Team Sun. Who cares about them guys? Nobody. Not me. Not you. Nobody. So then halfway through the arc, Ozpin finds Achillat, or, the best Mistralian, and he tells her about the seasonal maidens, also therefore informing the audience. And the maidens are basically magical girls that have phenomenal cosmic power. So, blah, 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 they need Pyrrha to become the Fall Maiden because Girl on Fire, Cinderella, stole half of Fall's power somehow with some Grimm bullshit, and they want to give the rest of the powers to Pyrrha to make sure that she's not, that Cinder doesn't get the rest of the powers. Cinder does some hacking bullshit with some chess pieces involved and starts pulling the strings of the tournament, making stuff happen her way. And this all comes to a head when Goldie Shots gets illusioned into attacking breakdancer Hermes Mercury and shooting him in the leg or whatever. And, unprovoked, even though she totally saw him attack her. But we know that, but the people don't. So, and it all comes to a head when Achillette kills Pinocchio on accident on some more illusion shit. And then, obviously these illusions are coming from Emerald, who my nickname for her is Aladdinina. And everyone freaks out, and because everyone freaks out, that attracts Grimm, and monsters attack the city. So all the adults leave, and now the children have to protect the city because reasons. There's no cops, there's no adult huntsmen except for the 2 teachers and Glinda and Crow and the other headmaster there, Ironwood. So for some reason, adults don't fight in this universe. They run away like bitches. So that happens, blah, blah, blah. Achillette Pyrrha goes to become the maiden with Ozpin, but Girl on Fire Cinder beats her to it and then becomes the maiden and gets the other half of the power. So then her and Ozpin have like a god battle, and Girl on Fire wins. What else we got? Clockwork Torchwick gets eaten by a monster right in front of Rwby as he's literally talking about how to survive, which is great irony, but it also serves to do the tone shift, because Torchwick was very mustache twirly villain. He was very, hard to take serious. So now that he's gone, I guess shit is going to heat up. So the Beast from Social Justice Kitty and the Beast finds Social Justice Kitty, and while being an abusive boyfriend, ends up cutting Goldie Shot's arm off because she tried to attack him. And then after that, Achilles fights Girl on Fire Cinder and dies, basically. Because how are you going to stand up to a maiden? You can't. So even though Pyrrha is... Actually, she did a pretty good job in that fight. So either Cinder is a really weak maiden, or Pyrrha is just super OP, which either of those things are equally likely. Actually, I'm going to lean a little bit more towards Pyrrha being super OP, because Cinder showed that she was a pretty competent fighter without the maiden powers, so I'm going to lean towards Pyrrha being OP as fuck. So what happens is she dies, and then Little Red Giant Scythe gets there just in time to see her disintegrate, and does a Super Saiyan Silver Eyes Ex Machina, which fucks Cinder up pretty bad. The Fairy Tale Heroes team splits up with everybody going home. Blake runs away because of Yang getting her arm cut off protecting her. Weiss gets whisked off home by her dad being an overbearing father. Yang goes home to mourn the loss of her arm, and Rwby goes off with the rest of Team Genderbend Heroes, and they go to Mistral for more shenanigans. So, we don't get any explanation for the Silver Eyes, ever. And it's been 2 volumes, and I don't think we're going to get it for a while. They're holding their cards close to the chest for this one. So, Volume 4, Little Red Giant Scythe and the Genderbent Heroes. Sounds like that's a good band name, huh? They travel to Mistral and are bad at maps. That's the first 6 episodes, is they suck at maps. So, Social Justice Kitty cries to Mama Kitty and Papa Bear about being emo and her gang ties. And Snow White Privilege gets grounded. But then she escapes to meet the team in Mistral, and that's her whole arc in the whole Volume 4, which admittedly was one of the better arcs in that, but it was very short, and it was just oh, I don't want to be an Atlas. You're grounded. Okay, I'm gonna do one training montage, and then I'm gonna leave Atlas. So cool, I guess. So that also Goldie Shots mopes for her arm and then just gets over it. She's just all right, I'm gonna be sad for the first season. Oh, now we're fighting. Oh, now I'm out of here. Peace, guys. Gonna go find Rwby. And It ends with Little Red Giant Scythe and the Gender Bent Heroes. Sick band name. They arrive in Mistral, and everyone but the Social Justice Kitty is on the way to meet them. They have this wicked cool fight with, like, Tyrion, who tries to capture Rwby, but they fight him, or well, I should say Crow fights him off, and then he gets poisoned, so there's this, like, urgency to the end where they have to get to Mistral, like, right away, or Crow's gonna die from the poison. And it all has to do with, like, they start making these really bad decisions, and a lot of people have compared it to, like, a horror movie, but I think that has to do with Crow, because his semblance is so bad that everything is always like a horror movie around him. Like, people are always just making stupid decisions, like splitting up, you know, running from the killer upstairs, stuff like that. So, and I think that actually has to do why he got poisoned too, even though they were able to cut off his tail. And, Tyrion drops a B-bomb calling Rwby a bitch. So, not for kids anymore, guys. So, blah, blah, blah. They're in Mistral. That's the end of Volume 4. So, Volume 5. Oh, here we go with this mess. Let me just prepare myself for a second. So, most of the volume is pretty cray-cray all over the place. Goldie Shots finds her mom, Raven, to get fast travel to Mistral. Like, literally like a video game. So, Little Red Giant Scythe and the Gender Bent Heroes literally just train and exposit most of the arc. Snow White Privilege gets captured by Raven for ransom, but she gets rescued by Goldie Shots in like 2 episodes, so that was cool, I guess. Like, you know, great suspense, guys. So Social Justice Kitty deals with the Beast, who goes in and overthrows the White Fang, which was like, Sienna Khan was the coolest looking character, and she was there for literally like a minute, and she just got offed. So that's pretty lame. I wish she had at least like done more. Maybe they'll reveal, that would be cool, they'll reveal that even though he like stabbed her, maybe the White Fang members that took her away were still loyal to her, so they like healed her up or something, and she'll come back later to take back the White Fang. That'll be sick. So, Social Justice Kitty deals with the Beast, who's the leader now, and also the gay chameleon Ilya, who is like the second in command, I guess, or like third in command over those 2 twin guys who are like really creepy, Fire and Ice. Basically, everything culminates in like a 7v7 fight in the entrance hall with terrible fight animation, way too much talking. Everybody's teleporting all over the place. Like, there's just, I don't even want to go into it. Other people have done it better. I don't even, because I don't have editing, so you guys know how bad it is. I don't have to explain it. Raven is the Spring Maiden. Surprise. And she gets to have like a Super Saiyan battle with Girl on Fire Cinderella, because they're literally just like flying around. Which, like, I know they established that that's a thing that the maidens can do, but like, they are going really Dragon Ball Z with this. And like, I'm okay with that because I love Dragon Ball Z, but like, that's not what Rwby's about. Rwby's about the weapons. And in this fight, they were breaking weapons constantly. She was just making them, breaking them, breaking them, breaking them. And it was just like, dude, what happened to your badass sword that like changes dust colors and stuff? And like, Cinder, I feel like we don't know what her semblance is, because she did that glass thing before, and she also had the clothes that do dust things, but like, I don't think that has anything to do with her semblance. So, you know, she gets the relic, and Goldie Shots comes and basically says, "You're a shitty mom, give me the relic." And she says, "Okay," and then dips. And so the Fairy Tale Hero team reunites, and now they got to go to Atlas. So that's your recap. Took a little longer than I was hoping for, but so here's some of my theories. I think that in Volume 3, Jean should have died instead of or as well as Pyrrha. In the Achilles myth, I don't know if you guys are familiar. I love Greek mythology, so I know a lot about it. But at Troy, Achilles will only fight after Patroclus takes his armor and pretends to be him and gets killed. Like, that's a big deal because Achilles won't fight for most of the Trojan War because somebody took his war prize. So in order to get him to fight, Patroclus dies. And that's his little protege, kind of like how Jean is to Pyrrha. Jean is Pyrrha's protege. So here's how I want it to go. I want Pyrrha, here's how I wanted it to go in Volume 3. Pyrrha, like, loses her weapons or something, and they're far enough away where it takes a second for her polarity to kick in and bring him to her hands. Or maybe Jean picks him up. And he tries to fight Cinder, and she literally, like just manhandles him. Because she's badass even before the maiden powers. So maybe she ties him to a stake and burns him alive in front of Pyrrha just to be a dick. And now, because remember, Jean is Joan of Arc. So that's how Joan of Arc died, was getting burned at the stake. So then after that happens, Pyrrha watches Jean brutally get burned to death and then gets a rage boost. And then holds Cinder off just enough till Rwby arrives, and either everyone retreats, including Cinder, like Cinder retreats, Rwby and Pyrrha retreat, or let me finish that thought, actually. So they all retreat, and then a volume or two later, Pyrrha kills Cinder, but then she gets killed by a no-name White Fang member, just like a random-ass White Fang member shooting her in the heel and killing her with a bow and arrow. That would stay faithful to both of their myths and put Ren and Nora in a position to die their own dramatic deaths, because supposedly everyone in that team is supposed to die. But what I was also going to say is after the rage boost and holding Cinder off until Rwby arrives and they all retreat, like, maybe after Jean dies, like, she can hold her off just enough for Rwby to get there and then go down to take Cinder down with her or something. Like, basically, Pyrrha was just, even though she was bland, like, a lot of people liked her a lot better than Jean. And I know Jean is Carrie's fucking standing character, but, like, dude, come on. Pyrrha's way better. And, like, we also know she's coming back. She's gotta come back, like, in some way. Rwby wouldn't be having nightmares about it. I know they, like, kind of framed it that, like, she was hearing Jean's scroll while he was training, but she's gotta be alive in some capacity. So I've heard that, like, Ozpin's reincarnation was originally supposed to be because of his insane mastery of aura, but then they retconned it to be about the gods. But then again, maybe he's just, like, lying. And it is because he's just dope at aura, and he's like a parasite that, like, goes similar to the maiden powers, except it's not random. He can choose the person, and then we saw him in Volume 5, even though he's in Oscar's head, he can, like, just take control at any time. So, like, because he said, I'm sorry, and then forcibly took control because Oscar wouldn't give it up. So, like, I have a feeling he's gonna, like, assimilate him and, like, make him one with him, which, like, if he's willing, that's fine, but, like, that's pretty shady. So, and I'm getting, like, Dumbledore vibes from Ozpin. Yeah, he does some shady stuff, but it's for the greater good. You can't have two bad guys. You can't have Ozpin being a fuckboy and Salem being bad. And there's no way, like, just from her character design, there's no way Salem has anything but, like, destruction for destruction's sake. So, now, regarding Ozpin originally his aura being the reason why he reincarnates, maybe that's how Pyrrha's still around. Like, her body's dead, but her aura is still somewhere. And then Jean's semblance of aura manipulation or whatever is how they bring her back. But I also kind of think that that's a misdirect. I think that, like, there's no way Jean is just, like, a support healer. Like, I don't believe that. I think his, like, saying that his semblance is aura manipulation is like saying that Blake's semblance is teleportation, or saying that Yang's semblance is anger. Like, yeah, it's a little piece of it, but it's not the whole picture. I think Jean is going to have, like, a crazy OP semblance when they release more details about it, because yeah, we have an idea and it's confirmed or whatever, but I think that that's not the whole story. So now, I also have one more theory, you guys, before I wrap this up. Now, you all saw the World of Remnant, I'm sure, about the maidens. And now, did anybody else notice that Cinder, her maiden powers are orange, just like the Fall Maiden in the picture of the World of Remnant, the four maidens. The four maidens' colors are, winter is like a blue color, spring is green, summer is like a pinkish color, and then fall is orange. So Cinder's got orange, so her color's correct. But what I think is that I don't think Raven is the Spring Maiden. She might think she is, but I think she is the Summer Maiden because her eyes are pink when she powers up. And unless they just are fucking up the colors again, which is totally a possibility. Rooster Teeth sucks lately. But that could be a misdirect, and maybe, even though it was thought that the maidens are specific to each school and they need to like put their hand on the door to open up the relic, maybe any maiden can do it. Maybe it doesn't have to be specific to the season of the school or whatever. Because her eyes are definitely pink. And unless they're switching spring and summer, which doesn't make sense to me, because if spring is pink, summer being green makes no sense. Spring is green, summer is pink. That makes way more sense. And fall is orange, and then winter is blue. But they did already change the colors once. They back in the old story, originally when Pyrrha tells it, I think the Fall Maiden is pink and the Summer Maiden is orange, and then they switch them. So they could be switching them again, or maybe like I don't even know. Maybe it's just like an inconsistency, which is totally possible. But so what do you guys think? Drop me a comment down below. Like it if you liked it. Dislike it if you don't. Smash that bell. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I've got videos coming out I think it's going to be Monday and Thursday for the next month or so. I'm going to do a 12 episode season, so to speak. And as I told you guys before, I got a special guest for you on it's going to be the season finale, so stay tuned for that. And I think it's confirmed. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's confirmed. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down below. And yeah, MSS out.